She called me and said, hey, I don't like what people are saying to me through the vents. Hey, we need to get rent on this. And she would say, I paid you rent. And I'm like, you haven't paid me rent, right? Where is all your money? And she won't answer. And she's like, I have $11 to my name.
For landlords, by landlords. The Rent Perfect Podcast with David Pickron.
Well, hello and welcome to the Rent Perfect Podcast, where we are trying to help new landlords really find a footing into this game, right? I mean, this business can be easy, or this business can be really, really difficult based on your knowledge and your experience. And so we're trying to bring new landlords that experience. So if you're new, or maybe you're a seasoned landlord and you just kind of want to follow kind of the guidance or struggles that we have as landlords, you're certainly welcome. So please like and subscribe to the podcast. So today's going to be an interesting one because sometimes, Scott, we come on the podcast and we kind of give certain situations that we know about, but today's, it's going to be a little different.
It's a little personal today, I think.
It is very personal.
Yeah.
It is a very unique situation. Been doing this for 30 years and, haven't dealt with anything like this. But I'm sure someone out there that's listening to us, so if you're have had this situation, right? So if you have any ideas, please put it in the comments. Love to hear from you on this. So little backstory here. I do long-term rentals. I do short-term VRBO Airbnbs, and I also do a midterm. And in our midterm, we have some rentals where we rent to winter visitors down here in Arizona for 3 to 4 months, and they pay you pretty healthy. But then you've got to fill it up for the rest of the year. But your problem is then you have to get the people out of there because you have the big payers coming back in. So you're constantly turning and shuffling, and it's really good money, but it is also a whole lot of work. But that's what we find in this business, right? We get a long-term rental. We don't really do a lot with it. We make a little bit, and that's great if that's our goal. And then we do short-term, and we're constantly cleaning, but we make a lot more money. So how much time and money do you want to make depends on your strategy. So we do all three of them. So I had a circumstance where I had a guy call me and say, hey, I need to put my aunt in a place for 3 months, and she just sold her home, and she's looking for a new home or whatever. And okay, great. And so we go through, we do the vetting, we do everything. Everything looks great. Lady's got like $300,000 in the bank and just sold her house, and it looks really good.
I'm assuming she's an older.
And and the nephew's helping her because she's an older gal.
Okay.
And in her 80s.
Yeah.
And so she was early 80s at this point. And so I said, great, 3 months, part of our midterm.
Yeah, your plan works
out great. Yeah. The only problem is where they wanted to move to had an upstairs on the inside of the unit, okay? So I went over there probably about 2 months into this, and I'm like, now, hey, you've now found another place to go live, right? Because this is a midterm. And she said, well, I haven't found another place yet. It's been kind of hard. My nephew is helping me. But I noticed that on the stairway, the rail was like pretty dang loose. Like when she was coming up and down those stairs, she was doing like the death grip, right? Well, I actually happened to have a single story in the same complex. These are condominiums. And I thought, and actually that was a long term. So I'm like, hey, well, if you haven't found anything yet, I actually can move you to a single story, and kind of showed her the place, and I just knew that stair rail was coming down, and she was coming down the stairs with it, so I needed to kind of move her quick. So this is a nice elderly lady. I really liked it. Yeah. And anyways, so the day before we go to help her move, and her nephew is out of state, so we're like almost caretakers in a way, right? Sure. Thinking we're helping out this gal, and she's nice, and that's fine, and we don't mind doing that. And so we go to move her, and she says, well, why are you taking my house from me? And I'm like, no, we've talked about this. Like, you're going to a single level. And so I started to see a little bit of confusion there. And I'm like, well, maybe she just forgot, but that was the start of it. So anyways, we move her to the single story. And here's what's interesting. So we got her into the single story. Now, as I go around and I speak to different real estate groups around the country, I do this exercise with them at the very beginning. And what I do is I have everybody kind of look down, close their eyes, and I have them say their address of their rentals. And then I try to make them, hey, how do you feel in your gut, right? I mean, what is your first, so Scott, if you were to do that right now, right, with some of your properties, like think of one, what is that gut feeling that you have, right?
Yeah.
And certain addresses are like, oh, perfect. People have been in there, rent's on time, they have good job. I mean, you feel really good about it. But as I've done this exercise over the last year, and I thought of this address where this gal is, I'm like, something is just coming down the line.
You
right?
can feel it brewing, right? Yeah.
I mean, she's paid her rent. She's not, but just something is uneasy in me. And I just knew something, that something has come now. And been feeling it for a while.
Yeah.
So about 3 months into this rental, she called me and said, hey, I don't like what people are saying to me through the vents of the place. And I'm like, what? Well, let me come over there. Well, she can barely hear me when I'm there. She has to read my lips, right? And I'm like, you can barely hear me when I'm like standing in front of you talking to you. Now you're hearing things through the vents. So now I'm thinking, okay, this is
got some
worse.
Cognitive decline, right? Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, this to move fast forward. So this isn't, a 5-hour podcast. Bounced her checks in July. I went over there, finally got a physical check from her and got that covered. Bounced 2 in August. And then she told me, hey, my bank's doing an error. My bank doesn't like the rent perfect basis. I mean, every excuse in the world. And then I would go back and I'm like, hey, we need to get rent on this. And she would say, I paid you rent. And I'm like, you haven't paid me rent, right? So I got on the application, called her kids. We want nothing to do with her. Called her best friend. Yeah, she's told me to stay out of her business. So I go back over to her house, and I'm like, and I give her the 5-day notice here in Arizona, the non-payment of rent. And she's like, I'm like, Corliss, where is all your money? And she won't answer me. And I'm like, Corliss, do you have money? And she's like, I have $11 to my name. Scott, she had $300,000 a year ago. I don't know if she doesn't know where her money is, or I don't know if someone's taken her money. I don't know. But all I know to fast forward is evictions have been filed, and tomorrow the constable is going to show up and take a lady and put her out on the street, in which really bothered me.
Yeah.
Now, I own an eviction company. I've been part of evictions my whole life. I'm not this, you're not
wimpy
landlord,
right.
but I'm like, here's a lady who's going to seriously be sitting in front of the apartment unit kicked out, and she's going to be saying, what happened? Like, she won't even know what happened. So, we're now into the middle of September, and I've delayed this eviction process a while. And I finally called Adult Protective Services. I have called everybody I could call. So listen to this: Adult Protective Services goes out there. They want to make sure she's eating. She's like, if she haven't paid, what else is going on in your life, right? And she won't let them help them. They're like, we have an assisted living for you. We can set up. And she's like, nope, I'm staying here. And she doesn't. She just thinks she can say she's staying there, right? So I'm in a very difficult situation because I don't think this is a typical, I just lost my job, I'm not paying rent. I mean, this is a lady who was a really sweet lady, but is dealing with some end-of-life mental health, type of situation. And I know if the papers get a hold of this that, I'm sure this happens all the time, so they're not really going to nail me on this, but I'm the landlord who threw out the 80-year-old lady who, you know what I mean?
Right. You're the villain, right? Because this is what the villain does.
Right.
The big bad landlord who, kicks old women to the curb, and it's all about the dollar.
Right.
Not realizing all the efforts you've gone through, right? So, I mean, you're in kind of this moral dilemma, right? Because as an investor, you're like, am I going to be the investor or am I going to be the villain? That's a hard decision to make.
Yeah, by the time 3 months rent goes by and I do a turn, I'll lose $10,000 on this deal, right? I mean, if it's all about the money, then it's about $10,000.
Yeah.
But and when I was younger, like for example, I called an attorney and I'm like, hey, what is there some other way we can do that? Nope, just throw her out. Called the constable's office.
Yeah.
Hey, will you guys help this lady find? Nope, we're not in that. Throw her out. I mean, everybody. There was no program for this lady until I called Adult Protective Services, and then they had a program, but she refused it. Now, I have dealt with, over the years, people with some mental illness before, but it wasn't really a nice, sweet elderly lady who really isn't doing. We're not in this situation because she means to be. I wouldn't be shocked if she has the money and just forgot where it was. Like
she hasn't done anything wrong as a tenant. I mean, she's not tearing up the place. She's not smoking, doesn't have pets in there. I mean, she's a great tenant other than the fact that she's forgotten to pay rent for 3 months.
And in Arizona, I have to show up with the constable to change the locks on the doors.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
When this
even
happens.
Harder, even more difficult.
And I'm like, here's, thinking about my grandma or my, I'm just like, oh my gosh, can somebody please help? But I have to go back and I have to say, and I don't know if maybe I'm justifying or protecting myself. This isn't my mom. This isn't my family. Like, your family's disowned you, or they, I can't be everybody's savior. So there's the dilemma I'm in. I'd love to hear people who are listening to this, their comments, their thoughts. Am I kind of teaching people not to get emotionally involved in your rentals, and yet now I am. Right.
Yeah, we often talk about don't become your tenant's best friend. Right. But really, I mean, as we've kind of talked about this over the last year, you're still trying to protect your investment. So I mean, you've talked about, like, sometimes you'll go over and take the garbage out because the garbage needs to go out. You'll go over and do maintenance things that normally a homeowner would do because you're trying to maintain the investment and help your tenant out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We had a situation where a sliding glass door broke. I don't know exactly still what happened. She couldn't tell me. She said, I don't know. I was just sitting here and it broke. I'm like, do they just break?
Yeah, they don't just break,
and here I have. And then she's like, I'm going to put cardboard up all over, and I get shards of glass everywhere. I'm like, don't even go close to that. By the time I get there, she's already put up cardboard boxes, and she's stamping all over the glass. And but you're right. There are times where I have been over there treating her like she is my family, just trying to help the investment, but help her, and as I get a little older, I'm a little bit more softer than I probably was in my 20s and 30s. And so, anyways, we'll see what happens here in the next couple days. I'm hoping for a miracle. I'm praying for a miracle. But I don't know. I've let Adult Protective Services know that she's going to be sitting, we're still 100 plus degrees here, right?
Yeah.
She's going to be sitting out on the curb, and either the fire department's going to get called, the police, Adult Protective, something.
Someone's getting called, yeah.
Like, we have a problem here, and it's going to fall onto the city on how they take care of, people who have nothing.
Yeah.
So.
Let me throw a couple of questions at you if I can.
Sure.
As we're talking, I'm thinking through. So let's say that somebody in the family, this miracle that you're looking for comes in and says, David, look, I will catch up. I'll true up on the rent, right? I'll cover July, August, September. Will you let her stay?
I probably will not.
Okay.
Because the real problem, I don't think, is the rent. It is, like, is she eating, right? Is she going to pay the electric bill? Is the electric going to go off in the house, right? Is the garbage getting taken out? I mean, I just don't think she can live on her own. There's a time in our lives where we need to go to assisted living. She has a cat. Okay. And the cat means everything to her. I think the cat is the only thing in her life that hasn't abandoned her in her mind right now.
Okay.
And when you go to assisted living, you can't have a cat.
Yeah.
So, no, I think this needs to end. I don't want to continue this problem. Yeah. This is not really my problem. And when I see a way out, I need to take the way out at this point, just for me. Because it's not, if it were to get better, I would say maybe, hey, let's catch up, let's see. But
we'll true up and we'll put her on auto pay, and you don't need to worry about rent getting paid. But now you're worried about, because I mean, at the end of the day, you do have a heart.
Yeah.
Right. We're not this heartless landlord, but you have a heart, and you're concerned about her long-term health, not just this short-term, kind of fix things.
She was on auto pay.
Okay.
But when there's no money in the bank account.
Oh, yeah, that helps, yeah.
Auto pay.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to figure out, and every time I ask her, who's taking your money?
Yeah.
Where's your money? She will not answer me, right? She won't answer me. So, but I don't want to be in that role anyways. I don't want to say, hey, give me your bank account number. Let's go down to the bank. Let me see how, it's not my position as a landlord, right? I don't want to get in the middle of the money. I don't want to log in as her, and I just don't want to even
well, you want to keep it professional, but also
be in a position of anybody thinking I took any money that I shouldn't have taken. I would just want to stay as far away from that as possible. So the reality is I'm going to lose some money here. I don't even know what the place is going to look like when I get it back. Maybe
Yeah.
it's fine. Maybe it's not. But
Yeah, you might have an expensive rehab ahead of you.
yeah,
You never know.
So, anyways, I understand someone's calling for welfare checks over there. The police are showing up every other day. It's not me that's doing that. So somebody's like monitoring her, but won't help her, and it's just bizarre.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I think by the time we put this podcast out, we'll probably have number 2 being recorded on a follow-up on what happened. And if there was any kind of help or information we can give out to our fellow landlords, we certainly will share that. So.
Yeah, and I think we'd love to share comments in our next episode, too. Like, here's what we heard. Here's some of the feedback we got from our community, right? 'Cause I think that helps everybody get better.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, this is my very first eviction, knock on wood, in 30 years.
That's incredible.
And so we've done a really, really good ride. But I guess if you're in the business long enough and you have enough units, you are going to run into situations like this that are just completely and totally out of the ordinary, that it's hard to find some kind of insight on how to take care of. I knew nothing about adult protective services until I just started calling around, calling cities, calling departments, going, what do I do? What do I do? So I've learned a little bit there that there are some departments in probably the cities or the counties that will help you in a situation like this. Now, whether they take the help or not is another story.
Question,
Mine chose not to take the help, which if she would have solved everything for me.
Yeah.
Scott, I appreciate you listening.
Yeah.
You're kind of like a counselor today. You're kind of like just,
Well,
just
that's a tough situation, man. You're kind of rock and hard place situation, on this one.
I would rather be the person giving the advice than the person in the middle of the problem.
I don't blame you. Yeah, I agree.
Hey, I appreciate everyone hanging in there with my personal story today. Please let me know what you think. If you have any advice for me, I've been doing this a long time, but never claimed to know everything. And any advice from the community would certainly be appreciated. And until next time, continue to rent perfect.